Hello and welcome to the programme which looks at the Holy Land. I am Paul Calvert. Psalm 95 verse 1 from the New King James Bible says this, "O come, let us sing to the Lord. Let us shout joyfully to the rock of our salvation." I'm with Tristan Hall from Christian Friends of Israel. Now, Tristan, Israel is at war, so does that mean that CFI has had to step up to the challenge of war?
That's a great question, Paul. Yes, it's our privilege to do so because although it's very challenging, it's times like this when we really feel most of all that we have such an opportunity to fulfill our mandate and be fully involved in repairing Jewish-Christian relations in practical ways, just by doing everything that we can. Obviously, there's a huge national effort underway providing war relief, and we're very much part of that. From the get-go, we were receiving requests from the Home Front Command and from people that we already support, groups, organisations, also individuals and families that we're involved with that have been affected by the conflict. And so we sent teams early on into some of the worst affected areas where there were impacts. Of course, there were 36 ballistic missile impacts in different parts of Israel, and each one, as you know, Paul, is a huge thing. The ballistic missile is completely different to the small Katyushas and Qassams of Gaza and Hezbollah. These ballistic missiles are in another league, and when they make an impact on a block, it's not only that block that's decimated, it's surrounding buildings as well. So many people are affected, and about 13,000 displaced people right now, so lots to do.
The team have been to Tel Aviv area. Some people have lost their homes there. Some have had homes that are damaged and they're traumatised. How have you been able to help them?
We sent people in early to Bat Yam, as others did, because there was just such great need. And I remember our team members that were there just said how overwhelmed they were by seeing the scale of the need. And many of these people were in temporary hotels and just an atmosphere of chaos, people running around, so many needs, they didn't even know where to start. But we've been able to supply very practical things. Actually, not long before the recent escalation in the war, we received a shipment of all kinds of wonderful new things that we've been able to give away. So we've got new shoes, children's, adults, men's, women's, quilts, blankets, clothing, and that we've received that we've been able to distribute. And these are many of the things that people lost, people that have lost their homes. I mean, they lost everything, not just the shelter, but the contents in their homes. So they're really needing to start from scratch. So these have been invaluable. Also, we've been distributing food vouchers in Bat Yam, in Tel Aviv, Bnei Brak, and it's not just for food, the kind of voucher that can be used in many different retail outlets in Israel. So they can also buy toiletries, they can buy other things that they've lost in their homes and start to replace and regain just the basics. This is just really people trying to get back to basics. It's nothing grand, but it all makes a difference when people have got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, of course, when you've lost everything, these little things make a big difference that you maybe wouldn't really appreciate in the past.
That's right. And one of the things we love to do at CFI is also not only practical needs, but to give emotional support to people. So we've provided just a space for people to talk to us, tell us how they're feeling, a listening ear, shoulder to cry on sometimes, a warm embrace. It's just things, human-to-human contact that people need. And they're so grateful, as they have been actually since October 23, to know that there's still people from the nations, Christians from the nations that are still here, that haven't fled, they haven't run away, they're still here, like Ruth was to Naomi, not leaving, refusing to leave, and it amazes them, and it touches them, and they open up their hearts, they open up how they're feeling, and so that's another form of support that we've been able to give. For example, we sent a small team in last week to Bnei Brak. There's a wonderful Emunah children's home there called Achozat Sarah, and many of the girls there, their school was actually bombed in Bnei Brak and completely destroyed. So they haven't even had anywhere to go, even when the schools did open up again. So we sent funds for them to have some activities to just completely take them out of the space that they're in and give them a treat. But we also sent a van load of toys and games, cakes, treats and things for them so that they were there also in the bomb shelters if they needed them. And then they spent the day just talking to the girls, chatting with them and also the staff and trying to have some fun and just lift their spirits. And that's also incredibly important, as well as the practical things that people need.
It seems like the whole world in some ways is against Israel at the moment, so this must be really important to the people seeing Christians actually ministering to the Jewish people on the ground.
That's right. We're living in an age now where in yesteryear people could switch on their radios to begin with, but then their televisions and see the hatred that's in the nations. Jewish people are very connected with the nations. Many have made Aliyah here from the nations, and they're watching the global media. Less recently, it was, going online and looking at the news, but now everybody's checking their phones. I mean, most people know how connected Israeli people are generally with their phones. Most everyone has a cell phone. Not so much in the ultra-Orthodox communities, but they see everything in the palm of their hands, the news live in real time. As we were talking, Paul, about that dreadful debacle at Glastonbury Music Festival a few days ago, things like that are seen, that level of hatred is seen, and it's internalised. And so all the more it makes it significant when they meet people in the flesh that are here from the nations, and non-Jewish people at that, who are able to tell them that they are standing in solidarity, in support, in Christian love, and that we support all of the people here, Israel's right to exist on a political level, but also on a human level, person to person.
And the team have been able to go up to Haifa as well. What have they been doing there?
Yes, we've had people that went up to Haifa. We've had people praying as well as distributing practical goods. Many people, of course, were praying Haifa because it was so close to the northern border, and it was particularly under attack because it's a strategic port and the refinery. But we were also able to distribute quite a variety of practical things, blankets and shoes, to people that are actually also homeless and to some of the street people.
Is this being Jesus to the people here?
I think everything we do comes from our faith, and so in a sense we are the face of Jesus that they never saw. Through all the years of anti-Semitism, Christian anti-Semitism, and we could look back over the hundreds of years and see it, and of course so much of that is remembered by the Jewish people, and rightly so. But to just do what we're doing, we don't hide who we are. Everybody knows that we're Christian friends of Israel, and it does help to heal past hurts because they see that what happened in the past isn't the only face of our faith, that there are actually people who love and support them.
Now, the UK have been putting on special flights to fly people out because the airport wasn't open. Did you feel the need to leave at all, or do you want to be here at this time, or did you feel, no, we need to escape and get away?
Never. We never, ever had that thought. We had been out of the country on a short trip about 10 days before it started and escalated. We were so relieved when it happened that we were here and not outside, because that's how Ruth would have been to Naomi. It's just ingrained in us. It's our calling. We would no way have been wanted to have been apart from the people of Israel at a moment like this. And also it's a testament to so many Israelis that they were desperate, champing at the bit to get back in. It was publicly in the news that so many thousands were trapped outside, and so many of them wanted to get back. And that was wonderful to see, because Israel is so much a part of their hearts and minds, and we feel exactly the same. So yeah, we were aware of the repatriation flights, and it was the furthest thing from our minds to want to take one of them.
Of course, this is the time when Israel needs you the most, so you need to be here.
That's right. And it's not a great witness, really, as soon as hard times come, if people run away. Of course, we don't condemn anybody that did. Many people needed to leave for all kinds of reasons, and there's not a blanket rule for everybody. Also, some people, they've already been through so much trauma that they can't stand anymore, and that includes many Israelis. So there's absolutely no judgment. But it was in our hearts to remain, and we're glad that we did.
Now, the operation against Iran was called Operation Rising Lion. How can Christians rise up like a lion today and pray for Israel? What does Israel need at the moment?
Oh, what a good question. Yes, you're right to focus on prayer, because it's prayer where everything begins. And things don't happen in the physical realm until they're first happening in the spiritual realm. So we fully believe that prayer is the place. We've still got a weekly war-themed prayer session. It's on a Tuesday evening here in Israel, but it's people join from all over the world, and that's been every week actually since October 2023. For the first several months it was every night, and then it dropped down to once a week, and that's still going forward because there's still so many people that want to pray, and we really believe that those intercessors are changing the reality on the ground here in Israel. I mean, we surely saw many, many miracles over the last several weeks. The whole world witnessed it. But it's not only the miracles that were seen, but there were so many miracles that were unseen. What happened was truly extraordinary. There's never been anything like the last month in the history of modern Israel. So that's the place where it begins. But we're also seeing a big surge in people applying to volunteer, which is wonderful. The saints around the world are really rallying up, and those that are called are feeling their calls. Some of them that have applied, I'm aware they've been people that they've carried in their hearts the desire and feeling that they must come to Israel to bless and contribute to what God is doing here. But it just hasn't been the right time, but they feel that the time is now. So we want to help as many of those people as possible to fulfill that call and to walk in blessing the Jewish people in practical ways, in emotional ways, and in meaningful ways.
Living here in Jerusalem and seeing what's been going on between Israel and Iran, do you feel in some ways that you're living in biblical times, or even the preparation for some biblical times in the future? We know what the Bible talks about in Ezekiel.
Oh yes. It's inescapable when one studies the scriptures, and we're literally living in pages of it. Also the alignments of the nations, a lot of talk about Psalm 83, and you mentioned Ezekiel. We're surely living in biblical times. It wasn't only for then, it also spoke of the future, as we all know, and we're in such times now. Sometimes there's differences of opinion on quite the exact moment that we're in, and we don't necessarily need to know the exact layout of the order of how everything will happen. We need to be faithful to God in the amount of revelation that we've received. But we firmly do feel that we're living off pages of the scriptures, and it will remain to be seen exactly what will happen over the next few months.
No, you can't do any of this work that you've been doing without help from Christians all around the world. So what is your website for people who'd like to either give or see more about the work that you do?
Yes, it's www.cfijerusalem.org, and also search for CFI Jerusalem Facebook, and you'll find us very quickly on Facebook. That's where we've got all of our latest daily updates and project updates. And we would encourage everybody to keep praying, to take up whatever call that they are able to step into. And not everybody is called to come to Israel in the flesh to volunteer and work and help. Not everybody has the finances to donate to the causes over here, although of course we encourage everyone to do so if they're able. But we can all pray, and that's one of the most important things that we can all do, whether we're inside Israel or outside of Israel. Also, many people are able to advocate for Israel amongst those with whom they live and work. It can be in a workplace, it can be amongst their family, it can also be in their church. And we all know how important it is to try and influence churches in the right direction when it comes to Israel, because there's so much misunderstanding, there's so much misinformation in the news, in the media, that singles Israel out for different treatment to every other nation, and we all know too well the lies that are being espoused. So if anybody can be a voice for Israel in their own community, can be a local council, that's also tremendously important. And just give people food for thought. And a closing thought is that it's sometimes more of a return on investment, focusing on people who are sitting on the fence, who are not sure about Israel and the truth about Israel, rather than people who are dyed in the wool, completely pitted against Israel in every way. Some of those people, I'm afraid to say, they're so far down the wrong rabbit hole that they may never come back up again. But of course, we can pray for them, and there's always exceptions.
Well, Tristan, thank you very much for sharing today.
Pleasure, Paul, and thanks for your time.
Thank you for joining us today. Pray that God will move by his mighty power in the Holy Land and bring his peace.